Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our last workshop for this year. And today what we're going to do is we're going to build our own drawbot. So what do you need? Hello, how are you, everybody?
Hello.
Okay.
Good.
So what we will need today is a paper, plastic, styrofoam cup, or yogurt container, just like you see here. Okay. You need 2 AA batteries. So for those who don't know the terminology, so these ones are AA batteries, so they're slightly bigger ones. You need a battery holder like this, a motor, and I've got a variety of different motors here. So just like these ones here. So one of those ones. Press stick, small eraser, bottle cap or cork. So one of these ones here, and I'm going to show you just now the eraser. A piece of wire if you are going to build what we call a switch. For this, you also need 2 split pins and a paper clip or safety pin. And you need 4 felt pens, some double-sided foam tape. If you don't have foam tape, you can also use normal tape, insulation tape or normal tape. This is what you need. A nail or something else to make a hole. You can also use a pair of scissors, and maybe you might need help from an adult. As I said, scissors, a large piece of paper, and if you want some decorations. And let me just stop here. And I just need to pin myself. Whoopsie. Okay, all right. So, and this is what we're going to make today. So I added some decorations. So this is what I meant by decoration. So I put in some red kind of lips on it, so that I cut out of red paper, some eyes here, and this is just a simple pipe cleaner. But again, you can decide how you want to decorate your drawbot. So this is what we're going to build today. This is a drawbot, and let me just show you first the different features. So there's your paper cup. These ones are your felt pens that are attached to it. There is your battery holder, and here is your, whoops, where's your switch? So there is your switch. So hopefully you can see this. So there's this pin, and when I push it onto this metal piece here, I hope you can hear it. So it starts, the motor starts spinning. If you don't want to make a switch, don't worry. You can also switch your bot on and off by just taking the batteries, just losing the batteries. But I found this very difficult to do while it's running. So that's why I put in a switch. There's your motor, and there is your little eraser. Okay, and I'm going to talk you through this whole design process. Things that you have to take care of and things you have to look at and to consider. So just to quickly brush up a little bit on what is actually engineering, and what we're doing here is actually an engineering project, just to brush up a little bit on what it actually means to do an engineering project and how does it usually work if you build something. Let me just quickly share my screen again. Okay. All right. So what you basically have to do is you first of all have to define the problem. So in this case, we want to make something that draws on a piece of paper. You do some background research, and I have to say, I get most of my ideas from the internet. This is always a very good place to go, but you can also look at books. Sometimes in libraries, they also have books and to show you how to do things. Then you basically need to specify the requirements. So what do I actually want? What do I want my robot or my drawbot to do? So in this case, I want my drawbot to draw with four colors. Okay, so that's why I designed it so that it can hold 4 colors, and that it should move around all by itself without me basically moving it. And in my case, because I didn't want to just pull the batteries on and off, I also included a switch. So then you go basically brainstorm, evaluate, and choose a solution. So you think about very hard. And you, as I said, you can also look at the internet and various things and basically choose the best option for you. And then start designing, develop a prototype solution. And what I've done here, this my drawbot is in fact a prototype. And then you test your solution. Okay, so that basically means you test if is it working? Does it meet my requirements? Does it switch on and off when I flick the switch? Does it actually draw? So if it does, then I'm very happy and I can use my drawbot. If it doesn't do it, so if and then they say the solution meets requirements partially or not at all. So if there is a flaw in my design, I basically go back and then I evaluate again. Okay, what did not go right? What went wrong? Can I improve my design? What is best to choose? Okay, just stop here. Okay, and just to show you how my little drawbot operates, I'm going to switch to the other camera. Here we go. So here's my drawbot. So, and I'll leave the caps on. All right, so I'm going to pull the caps off again. Okay. And now I hope, you know, it's usually when you demonstrate things that things are not going to work. So there's my drawbot. And now I'm going to switch it on. And you can see, and you see already a design flaw. The rubber actually doesn't hold. So this is an eraser, and the eraser always keeps on flying off. So I would then need to go back to the drawing board and think, you know, what can I do to this eraser that it does not fly off? So for example, I can just add a little bit of glue in it, or I can change it to another device. So for example, I can use a bottle cap, and this is what I'm going to try out. Okay, so whoopsie. Ooh. Okay, so now I'm going to place these ones on again. So when we are designing this, there are a couple of things that we need to take care of. We need to take care of that, first of all, your weight here at the end actually free rotates so that it doesn't catch on the cup, that it can basically spin around freely. Okay. Then as well, my switch, and I think I placed it in a little bit of an awkward position. I would have probably would have moved it more slightly towards the side, but it's still okay. So when I basically close it, it gets into contact, and then it will, we have a closed circuit. Okay. Also, you need to make sure that your pens are firmly secured. Okay, and also I would suggest that they also have the same length from the bottom. So because if you make one shorter, your drawbot actually, one of your pens does not actually touch the paper. So this is what we also want to avoid. Okay, so I'm going to decide today to choose a plastic cup. So just like this is a yogurt cup. So I would also have to rethink about my design with the pens. Okay, here you can see that I basically placed my pens on the outside. And what you maybe notice is that I cut off the rim of your cup. So if you have something like this, you still can fit your pens on it, but maybe just check out if you need to just cut off this rim here. That usually gives it a little bit of a better hold onto it. Okay, so now let's get going. So with this one here, as you can see, I've got a very thick kind of rim around here, which I can try to break off, but now I don't have much time. So what I would then rather do is I would rather then fit my pens on the inside. But before I'm going to do this, I basically start working. I found this actually more convenient. I'll start working first of all with my motors. So as you can see, I have 3 different motors. They all serve the same purpose. They're all 3-volt DC motors. So this one here actually has got nice little loops here. So you've got these 2 little loops here. Okay, so this is where your wire needs to go. Okay, this one here is very, very neat because it's already soldered onto it. So this is a very firm connection. This one here I would then need to cut off because I don't have one of these little pins here, but I'm not going to use this motor here. This motor is nice because it's got a flat surface. So it basically is nice to stick it onto something. But what I don't like with this one here, I'm not too sure if you can see this. So these ones are tiny little loops here. So this is something that I don't really like because it's very finicky to basically put your wire through. So I'm going to stick with this motor here with these loops here. Okay, so before we're going to start, just make sure when you look at your holder, just make sure that your wire is bare at the end. Okay, the reason is if it's not bare, if it still has got this red or black insulation around it, it does not conduct electricity. Okay, so the plastic is basically an insulator, and what conducts is this little wire here. Okay, so just to check it out, I'm going to place my batteries in, that my motor is actually spinning. Okay, I'm going to place my batteries in. And I'm going to check if my motor is actually working. So I'm going to attach. So I hope you can see this. I'm going now push my end of the wire through this little loop here, and I bend the wire around. I hope that everybody can see this. Okay, so just like this. All right. And now I'm not going to do this with the other one. Now I'm going to touch the motor and hope you can see this. Or here, maybe I'll just need to place something on it so that you can actually see this. Right. So now you can see that my motor, as soon as I'm touching this piece of metal here, I'm closing the circuit so electricity can flow. And now my motor starts. It's supposed to start moving. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we've got the same motor. So you put the two, one.
Just the one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we just. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So it just switches the polarity. So okay, so let me just try show you. Okay, just check out how which direction it's going to spin. Okay, so it spins this way. So if you swap it around, okay, so you put the black on the other side, and now you spin it. You see now that it spins in the other direction. So it doesn't really matter for our case in which direction it's going to spin, and so in which where you place your wire. Okay. All right. So, but as you can see, it's fairly loose. So what I would rather do is I would rather put a little bit of tape around it. So if you have insulating tape, that is great. That would be the best. So electrical insulating tape. I don't have this. So I'm using a little bit of masking tape. As you can see, I'm just pulling off a small piece here. And and I hope that you can see this. Whoopsie. Let me just put it like this. And I'm just wrapping it around this part here. So what we've done now is we've basically secured one end. Remember, this one we don't really need to secure at the moment because we still want to put in our switch. If you don't want to build a switch, you can basically do the same one here, but I would just remove a battery or both batteries, just lift them off like this, and then you can attach it. So otherwise, if you leave the battery on, it will just drain your batteries. Yes? Any questions?
Sorry.
Yeah. Either it is my internet connection or it's your, Devin. I can hardly understand you.
Getting the motor thing right. I've got the 2 batteries in wrong.
Yeah. You have the 2 batteries in.
I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, because I'm putting the 2 batteries are right. The 2 wires are in the motor, but I'm still not getting power in the motor.
Okay. Have you checked that your batteries are fresh batteries?
Yeah, brand new batteries.
Everything is brand new. Okay.
Yes.
Just make sure. Just try and use the bare ends and just check if it's moving. Maybe it's the insulation that is in the way. Just check it out. Okay, Devin, is it working?
No, we're not getting any joy, but I think carry on now.
Okay, all right. No worries. Okay, so it can have different reasons. What you can also try is, this is usually the usually where you can check out that the motor is, in fact, operating. Okay, all right. So now that we established that the motor is working, I'm now going to fix the motor on top of my cup. Now, when I'm fixing the motor on top of my cup, I just need to make sure, and I have to pay attention, that I'm not putting it like this. So here you can see there's the shaft of the motor. So if I put the motor too far in the middle, what's going to happen? I'm just going to place my blue cap on it again. So what is going to happen, as you can see, it can't spin. It can't spin correctly. Okay. It can't spin correctly. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to slightly make it stick out of your cup. And also with the cup, if you have a cup like this, also what I notice is that this rim is a bit often in the way. So you can either, here you say, here I'm actually still fine, but if it's, here you can see this, but if it's too much, so if the motor, if the shaft doesn't stick out too much, what you can do is you can just kind of make a little snip here at the top, and if you have maybe a like a knife, so you can cut it in like this and bend it down like this, and then you can stick your motor out a little bit further. Okay, so just like this. All right. So, but as I said, I'm going to use this one here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some some double-sided tape. And this is very nice tape because it's actually holding quite nicely. Okay, and my scissors are not really the sharpest anymore. All right, so let's just take this one off. Okay, so how I basically place it is that I have free access to my two wires here. So I'm not placing it like this. I'm placing it basically sideways. So I'm attaching my double-sided tape. And now I have the problem to peel off the backing, which is usually a little bit on the tricky side. Yeah, as I said, it is not, when you do this online, it usually takes like donkey years to peel it off. So usually it's not a big deal, but often when you want to show this and you're in a rush, so you have to basically peel off the blue part. Can I get the blue part off? No, I can't get the blue part off. I love it. This is the online demonstration effect. Let me just, here we go. There it is. Okay, so remember what I said? I'm basically placing it so that my shaft is actually sticking out quite a bit, and I'm pressing it firmly down. If it's not really secure, what you can also do is you can take a piece of tape and also wrap it around. Okay, so now that we have secured our motor, we now need to secure our battery holder. So I usually like to place it on the side. When your cup is large enough, you can also place it on the top. And I might actually, because it's so nice and large, I actually might do this. So I place it on the top so I have a little bit more space for the rest of it. So, okay, place it on the top. And of course, I'm going to use double-sided tape again. There we go. Some double-sided tape. Stick it on. And peel the backing off if I can get it off. They should actually have some kind of mechanisms. This is something that you know, engineers actually could invent. So the easy peeling backing of these double-sided tapes. I don't know if everybody has the same problem as I have.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, this is you know when you watch these online videos, everything is all very nice and everything works like a charm, but in reality it never ever work like a charm. Okay, so I peeled it off. I managed to peel it off, and now I'm going to place it on top of it. As I said, if your drawbot is only a small cup, you basically would have to place it on the side here. Okay, so now that this is done, let's focus on our switch. So remember, when we have an open circuit, there is no electricity going through. So only if we close a circuit, we are getting electricity. And let me just put it like this. And here you can hear this. So the motor is running. Okay, so how do we do this with a switch? What you need is an additional wire. And as you can see, I've got a black one and a red one. And to be quite honest, color does not matter, okay? But because I'm attaching it to a red one, I'm gonna take a red wire. So the reason is the wire just indicates usually if it's positive or negative. But what basically makes it positive or negative is basically determines through your battery holder, through your motor. So, and it doesn't really matter which color it is, but it's easier for you to understand and follow the process. So this is why I'm taking the red wire. Again, I'm fiddling it through. Okay. And I'm attaching a little bit of tape. Right, so here you always have to also check, you know, that you have that you can access it. Just adding a little bit of tape here around it. There we go. Okay, super. All right, so now that we have these two pieces, so what should actually happen if you connected it correctly? What should happen if I touch the two ends of the wire? Let me just draw it like this. If I touch the two ends of the wire, your motor should spin. And I don't know if you could hear it. Let me just turn it around like this. And I'll place my bottle cap again on it. I actually really like this bottle cap here. So if you touch the wire, you can see that it starts spinning. Okay, so that means, this basically means that this connection is fine. If you have a soldering iron, you can also solder it directly to the motor. This gives it way more stability than, you know, the tape and the twisting of the cable. Okay, so now I'm gonna make my I'm going to build my switch. So you can make a very easy switch using, this is a split pin. Okay, so it basically opens up like this. So this is how they look like. And I like these ones because what you can do is with the one wire is, I don't know if you can see this, you can basically attach it in between the legs and you have a nice connection here. So then what you're going to do is you're going to make a little of a hole. And now with plastic, it is always a little bit tricky. And I hope it's going to work. Just check out. Yeah, that's fine. You're just checking the cable. Remember, if it doesn't work in the first instance, if your first design doesn't work in the first instance, don't worry. Okay, and I'm using scissors to make the hole slightly bigger. Don't worry, you can always go back to the drawing board. You can always, you know, try and make it, you know, try to change your design. And this is the fun part actually of it. And I tried a couple of things. Some of them worked better, some of them didn't work. So what I've done now, what I've done now is I'm now pushing the split pin through the hole in the cup. And I hope you can see this. And I open up these two pins here. Here we go. All right. So now this cable is secured, hopefully. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now with this end here, I'm going to attach it to a paper clip. Okay. This is going to be my little switch, this paper clip. And I'll just have to think about which way best. Okay, I'm just going to do it like this. And as you can see, what I need to make sure is that the metal, in fact, touches the metal of the paper clip. Please do not use one of these red, green, blue paper clips, because again, they have some insulation around it and it paper clip works well. Or if you don't have a paper clip, you can also use a safety pin as well. So here we go. I'm going to bend it around, make sure that the metal is in fact touching my paper clip. And again, to kind of secure it a little bit, I'm wrapping around a little bit of tape just to make sure that it doesn't go off. Here we go. All right. So, and now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make another hole. And now I have to kind of just make sure that the hole is in the correct position. So when I'm touching it, and you can already hear that it starts spinning. So my paper clip, one end of my paper clip needs to touch this metal piece here. Okay. Right. And I'm just going to hold it like this. And then I'm going to make a hole in it. Here we go. And make a slightly bigger hole with my scissors. Here we go. Right. And I'm going to take my split pin and push it through. Okay. And again, I'm going to split it open in the middle, and then it already, whoopsie, like this. Okay, so the reason why it's actually running, the motor is running, you can see that my two paper clips are almost touching each other. So I just need to make sure that they're not touching each other, that they are basically, whoopsie, apart from each other, because otherwise we are actually closing the switch just with the paper clips. Okay, so as you can see, motor is not running. Okay, motor is not running, and I'm just going to put it on like this. Here we go. All right. So the cap. And now if I'm going to place my little paper clip on it, and ooh, as you can see, there is actually a slight design fault. Can you see what's happening? Okay, so it actually doesn't touch. So what I need to do now is I need to kind of bend it a bit. Okay, so can you see that I needed to bend it a bit? And I hope. All right, And this is also a little bit of a design flaw. I probably would have been better. Let me just do this again. Better if I would have had them slightly closer together. Okay, you see, sometimes one does things. Okay, let me just draw another hole. You see, everything worked fine with my first prototype, no problems. And of course, when you do the real thing, then you have the problems. But this is quite nice because then I can explain to you what problems can occur. Okay, and now I just need to make sure that, oopsie. It's not touching. Okay, again, I'm opening it up on the inside. Okay, super. So now hopefully, if I'm gonna now place my switch onto it, you can see that it starts spinning. So, and then I'm gonna push it down and it switches off. Pushing it up, it connects. Pushing it down, it doesn't connect. Okay. Now, so this is basically the motor part of your drawbot. Okay, now we're going to come to attaching the pens, the felt pens. It also works with 3. So if you have a very small cup, you might be better off just using 3 pens, okay? But I've got a fairly large one, so I can choose 4. Remember what I said about the rim? If I'm going to place it like this, you can see that it's not very stable. So what I'm going to do now is, instead of placing it on the outside, I'm basically placing it on the inside. This is number 1. Number 2, you should make sure that they are basically all the same height. So what I usually do is I'll leave the cap on and I push my pen up so that it basically that the cap basically connects with the rim, and then I'm attaching it. And also what I found is quite helpful, if you take a little bit of press stick, okay, if you take a little bit of press stick and you just stick it onto your pen, and let me just place it like this and push it down. This is just so that it stays in place. And now you have all the time to take, for example, some tape. I'm just going to cut it off. Okay, take some tape and taping it inside. Whoopsie, my switch is going to go off. Okay, so that's my position of my first pen. I would usually now turn it 180 degrees so that the other pen is directly opposite this pen here if I'm working with 4 pens. Again, I'm doing the same exercise. I'm going to take a little bit of press stick, okay? And I'm just making sure that it's pretty much opposite the other pen, okay? So that they're basically in one line here. Let me just check. Yeah, it looks good. And again, I am taping it to the inside. Okay, taping it to the inside. And I hope that it's going to be fine. If not, you can always add some more tape. Remember, we're going to go back to the drawing board and we can revise our design, find the flaws, what doesn't work, what does work, and then go back and basically change our design slightly. Okay, and then we're going to do the next one. And as you can see, I'm basically placing it about 90 degrees. For those of you who don't know what 90 degrees is, pretty much halfway in between these 2 here. So again, I use a little bit of press stick so that it just keeps it in place. Cutting some tape. Whoopsie. Sticking it down. And it doesn't stick properly. I haven't secured it properly. Here we go. Just do this. And I'm using the bottle, the cap again to basically check that everything is pretty much in the same direction. Ooh, I can see that there is a little bit of a problem with this one here. I probably have to do another tape here. Okay, let me just try and do another tape. I found this one actually on the inside. It is a little bit more difficult because you have to get your fingers inside here. When you have small fingers and small hands, it's not such a big problem. But if your hands are fairly large, then it might be actually a problem to, you know, go stick your hands inside. Okay. Right. So then it's actually better to place the pens on the outside. Okay, another piece of tape. There we go. And my last pen here. Again, I'm taking a little bit of press sticks, making sure that it's about the same height as everybody else. Here we go. Taking some tape, sticking it down. All right. So now hopefully, yep. And as you can see, mine is a little bit short on the one side. So I would probably have to adjust it, but it's fine for the time being. So when you put it down, all the legs should actually be touching the ground. If it doesn't do it, that's also fine. Okay, so what I wanted just to show you is currently, if you now switch on your motor, you see nothing happens. The reason is we need like a wobbly motion. So, and I don't know if you've ever noticed that you're a wobbly or vibrating motion. So I don't know if you've noticed that your cell phone also has this vibrating motion. It also has a little vibrating motor in it. And we can achieve this, that our bot starts vibrating by placing a weight on the actual motor shaft. Now, when you put it, when you put the hole directly in the middle, in fact, it won't do much. It will just rotate and nothing will happen. So we need to have here our weight kind of a little bit off balance. So this is why I place the hole, and I don't know if you can see this, I place the hole off center. So I don't put the hole in the center, I'm placing it off center. So this also applies when you have like a cork. So you would place it like this and not in the middle. Okay, sorry, not in the middle, a little bit off center. And here you can also see with this one here that the eraser is not in the middle, in the center, but that it's slightly off center. Okay. So, if you want to make a hole in a bottle cap, you can use a sharp object, you can poke a hole in it, and you can take a pair of scissors to slightly increase the hole. Just make sure that you don't make the hole too big, because you want a tight and snugly fit with this middle piece here, a tight and snugly fit. This is number one. So that because if it's loose, it just kind of flies off. So if you make the hole too big, you might have to kind of glue it on, but then you have a little bit limited on, you know, if something goes wrong and it's not working properly, that you basically have to then force it off. So just make sure that it's just sliding on, but is not too loose. Secondly, remember what I said, just make sure that it can spin freely around all sides so that it doesn't catch either here on the actual plastic, or in this case here with the cups. And I don't know if you've noticed, the gradient in this cup is slightly larger than here. Also, don't make your attachment too big, okay, or too heavy. If it's too heavy, your motor won't spin. Okay, so then it's just too much of weight and then it won't spin. So you can also check this one out. So that's why a cork works fantastic. And I just realized that a bottle cap actually works probably the best. Okay, so I hope that we are ready for some action, and I hope it's going to work. Let's just check out our prototype here. So we carefully pull off the caps. There we go. All right. And let's get rock and rolling. And here you can see it's already starting to make nice circles. So mine is more doing like circles, which is actually quite nice. So I can give it a little bit of a push. And now it's moving around. And if I want to switch it off, I'll just open the switch. Okay. I hope that you already got your design ready to go. Is everybody happy with their design? Is it working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is so cool. Okay, fantastic. All right. Okay, so if you're not happy with your design, remember you can always adjust it. So you can find maybe another pot, maybe a smaller one, maybe a bigger one. Try out if you want to use more pens, if it actually works with more pens, try out 3 pens. So you can basically now modify your design. So I just wanted to show you, so this was the bottle cap. As I said, I'm very pleased with the bottle cap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and see if my cork actually works. So I'm going to poke a hole in my cork. Okay. And let's see if it makes, in fact, a different pattern. Let me just try and see. Where did I make the hole? There did I make the hole. No, here we go. So I'll just make the hole here and I'll stick it on. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that it's freely rotating. Okay. I can again take off my caps here. So remember, with a bottle cap, it actually makes nice little circuits. Okay, we'll try this one out. You can see this one is a little bit more wobbly. So it moves around a bit more than the other one. And you can see it's already kind of pulling on the battery. So the cork is actually very heavy and it has to work very, very, very hard. Okay, so the cork, maybe you can then try and shorten the cork if it's too heavy. So make the cork smaller. If you have an eraser, I tried to use an eraser once before. That one was too big. So I ended up with this tiny little eraser. And now what you can do, of course, you can start decorating your bot. So you can make fancy eyes. If you have googly eyes, you can use googly eyes. You can make it a nose. I don't know, make it give it some hair. So some frilly hair. So this is completely up to you. And I hope that you enjoyed it. And let me just quickly show you some more. Right, if you are still bored during the holiday vacation, okay, and you're looking for some more ideas, I wouldn't personally be online, but you can go to our website. Let me just move forward. www.stec.ukzn.ac.za, where we posted some more videos. Let me just put this one here. Okay. So on the top left, we're talking about states of matter. So I'm going to introduce you to the states of matter and some fun activities there. So where you build your own water molecule and some other interesting bits and pieces. In this one here, we actually do some activities with a volcano where you build your own volcano and do some activities and some experiments around volcanoes. This one here, you basically build what they call a crystal structure. And I explain a little bit about, you know, what it means. And for this, you would need jelly tots, lots of jelly tots and toothpicks. Here at the bottom, in the middle, on the left, so the DNA recipe for life. So there where you extract your own DNA from banana. With this one here, fossils, you can make your own fossils, and I'll show you how to basically make a fake fossil. You can try this one out. If you like the CSI seconds, the case, Dr. T, and the case of the candy case, you might want to try out the missing chocolate cake case. At the bottom left, we look at discover things that fly. In the next one, we talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. And on the right-hand side, we also do some experiments that deal with something that is called viscosity. So if you are keen to do this, and I'll try to also put, you know, these activities up online, hopefully next week. And so that you can also point your friends to it. If they missed out, you know, these workshops, that they can also try and do these at home. So, and this was it from my side. I hope, sorry, let me just switch to a different camera so that you can just see me. Here we go. All right, so I hope you did enjoy our little workshop series, and I hope that you are going to join us then next week. No, not next week. Okay, next year, when we're going to have some more of these workshops. And remember, you can always go to the website and check out some more workshops. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. And I hope to see some of you soon. That was it for this year. Remember to visit our website. We also have an online tour through the Science Center, through the Geology Museum. If you want to learn a little bit more about rocks, a little bit more about tsunamis, a little bit more about hovercrafts, you can watch these videos as well. Thanks for joining, and I wish everybody a happy Christmas and a very happy New Year as well. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.